We are right back where we left off from the previous video. There's a playlist somewhere of all the work we've done on this. Check out the channel, you'll find it because we've done a ton of work. Subscribers know we recently purchased this from Dirt Perfect. The building is in pretty rough shape. It no longer fit Dirt Perfect's needs, but it fits our needs and our future needs, so we decided it was worth the time and money to go ahead and buy this thing, fix it up, and try to bring it back to its former glory. We're around 6,500 square feet, the gymnasium level and the basement level down below. But you guys have seen it in the previous videos. This thing is close to collapsing. So we've got supports in, beams in, jacks in place, and we just started going up on that center ridge. Well, today we're going to try to get it up as far as this building lets us go, and we got a little bit more work to do. Now I'm pretty excited about it. Let's get started. Probably one of the biggest comments I get is you got to run cables side to side to help pull this thing back together. And you're not wrong. In fact, you can see the former owner, prior to Dirt Perfect owning it, had an anchor on that side and an anchor on that side. And they had a cable spanning that to help hold it together. But here's why I haven't put cables on yet. So we'll go ahead and fire up the fine animation machine. So we've got ourselves an arch. Basement level, basement level. When we run the cables across, and we start pulling them in towards each other, what we do is we start making force want to go one of two ways. Either up, that's a fancy arrow, or down. Now in the beginning I didn't want to run them because of how unstable this seamy wall was down here. But now with our reinforcements, I'm not concerned about that. So whenever that force wants to go down, it should hit something solid and hopefully want to return back up. The other issue we have is this belly over here on this end. And if we start to run that force up, and that force can't travel smoothly to the ridge, it comes in here, then all of a sudden it intercepts some kind of funky angle or some kind of delamination. Well, then we just start getting a bunch of failure in here, and the whole thing just collapses, and great content, but terrible progress. So we got to make sure we can get these bellies out first and get a little bit of this arch shape back into those laminated trusses so that whenever we go pulling on these cables, it can actually get the force the direction it needs to go without causing damage in other places. Which means the first place I want to start before we start running the cables, which we've got everything we need to do it, is I want to try to get this belly out. That spot right there. And you can really, really see it on the outside. So I got the progress locked in on this jack, and I'll show you that process whenever we do those posts. But we'll let this jack down, see what it does. I'm sure she's going to talk a little bit. There's going to be a lot of popping and cracking today. That's part of the process. And we can slide this one over here. Get some pressure up on it. And then we'll run a jack down on this other post. Found myself a chair and a little bit of this just in case some wood blocking falls. Won't protect me against the whole roof, but a couple 2x4s perhaps. We'll roll on down to the next one. We'll just go back and forth a little bit. Oh yeah. Whoa. All right. Still bad without that. All right, that's max stroke on that jack. We'll drop that slip down and lock it into place. Oh, she's definitely come up a little bit there, hasn't she? See if we can't do one more round on that end, that last post. One more full round on that. And this got a little belly in it there too. I think we'll be ready for some cables maybe. So as I go up with these, you can feel the jack get stiffer and stiffer. I'm kind of basing what I need to move based on how the jack feels. If it feels like it's going up fairly easy, then it's just lifting that section in theory. But once it starts getting a little bit of resistance, then I'm probably starting to carry more than I need to just carry on that beam, which is what that feels like. So we're going to slide over back to that center post on this end and go up with it a little bit. And actually, if I look at this side, just eyeballing, I'd say this side's about 2 feet lower, maybe, I don't know, a foot lower than that side. So I'm gonna run these two up. That'll help take a little bit of weight off that ridge as well. We'll run these two up and then those two up. And I think we'll be in a good position to start getting the cables and kind of pulling the walls as we lift. So let me get a couple other posts supported. So I'm hoping that shows up. Can you see the uphill, how much that one runs uphill? How much higher that end is from that end? So I got 1, 2, 3 jacks set up. We're gonna max those out. Try to get that caught up just a little bit. Give you the bird's eye view real quick. You can see that beam down that side is pretty caught up with itself. Now when you look down here, you can see how much more it's got to go up yet. Pretty drastic. Center beam looks fairly even. You can see the difference in that one. I think we're down to, so that post right there, we'll run it up just a little bit higher and then move on to cables. But before I do, this one didn't have any contact with any trusses for the longest time, but now we've gone up, it's got a little contact. I need to run some screws up in a couple of those trusses in the middle to keep this thing from trying to walk out. If I don't attach it to the truss, it'll just kind of walk that truss line as we go up with the jacks. These were the posts we used downstairs when we did the beam down there. So they're pretty much ready to go for this operation. All right, let's go up with that. So we're gonna make some cables. This is a 100-foot cable, it's 1/4 inch. We're not getting too crazy. It comes with an eyelet on one side, and then we got the stuff to put the eyelets on the other sides. Actually, I just had a whole bunch of stuff left over. This had to be whenever I was thinking about a project. I don't know what it was, but apparently I had big cable in mind. Anywho, I could walk you through step by step, or we could just build it and I can show you my concept. Let me get these come-alongs out and see how much cable we've got on these. The previous owner's got some rigging up here for cables. We'll hook one of them up to that and we'll put a couple other systems up ourselves. I will say my biggest concern is since we're pulling in towards each other, I don't know if one wants to go easier than the other. If the pull isn't that even, I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we can address that problem as we come to it. Best way I know to cut wire rope is to wrap your cut spot with electrical tape. Kind of keeps everything from splaying apart on you. I'm gonna really try not to burn the gym down. All right, just get the cable through first and then we'll kind of get her positioned on that thimble a little bit. And I'll go ahead and get the U-bolt and saddle, the wire clamp set up on the wire rope. And that way after we feed it through, you can kind of feed it back into itself. I'm going to run some of these 6-inch long timber locks through here as well. I don't know how long these lag bolts are. I think one of these through that hardwood would hold pretty well for us. Okay, well, it's been a while since I ripped the wall down. I don't know if you can see it, it's probably hard to show up on camera, but I got a string line right here that runs from one end to the other, so I can measure from that wall back to that string and kind of check the progress. But we gotta get the same thing set up on that side. And then we're gonna give just this one, just a few kind of test pulls and let it see what it does. I got enough to set up 2 more. And we'll just go down and measure from the wall to the string, 65.5. And that way we can keep track of what we got. I guess let's give her a few cranks and see what she does. I'm a little worried about this popping off and hitting me in the face, but now that is a sound. That's a sound. Start at 57 on that post. 56.5. Okay, 58 5/8 on this post. 57.25. It's moving. Just kind of curious if we're moving evenly. Still 65.5, so this side hasn't moved, just that side has. All right, let's get the other cables up. And I think what I need to do is go up higher on these jacks as we pull in. Well, I left my wood bits at the house, but we can just blast through with this thing. It'll do the trick, I think. Oh yeah, that'll work. It's a hole. They didn't have any shorter ones, but that'll be fine. We can just blast that right through that OSB, I think. So I changed the way I made these brackets. Made the bottom out of a 2x6, so I can get a few more. We'll get in there. There we go. A few more screws in the wall. Might as well go ahead and get this cable hooked up on this side. So I kind of want to take these and walk them back and forth and see what we end up with. See what we get here. See if our string line measurement's changing. What do we have here? 62? 61 3/4. I mean, not a lot. I will say this one has a lot less pressure on it now. So that's encouraging. Oh. Yeah, I was afraid of that. I don't think anybody's surprised there. No, I'm certainly not. Okay, bottle jacks were going really well. Let's just keep going with those for a while. Those both have a lot of tension on them. We'll see if they slack down when we start lifting. We're gonna run these 2 up and that center one. Those 2 first, and then that one. All right, up we go. Those didn't go bad at all. You want to see something crazy? You want to see how strong the ridge is on this old barn so far? Lifting that up and that up, got that pushed up. But not great because we're trying to keep pressure equal, so going to want to address that situation. Let's check out the cables. That was neat. Well, there's definitely less pressure on there. Let's see if we can't get a couple old crankaroos on her. A few more cranks. Reposition these jacks and we'll keep on going. So this one, went ahead and ran all these down on them. Yeah, maybe not all the way. Pull this one out. And then we'll run the screw top all the way out. And it's still got a little stroke left yet too, so we'll just stick with the same blocking. A little more. That'll do it. This one's maxed out all the way. That wall's come in 2 inches so far. Wow, what a treat. I wonder what the other side's doing. A fellow sure does enjoy some measurable progress. 58 5/8. We are now at 56 3/4. This fellow's just pretty much slack. We're gonna let that one slack, and then when it gets a little more on it, I'm gonna replace that board. I made another one of those just like I did those. That post right there isn't far from where it needs to be, I think. 204. So that post on that end's 204, that post on that end's 209, and they're at the same spot on the truss. So that's, I consider that fairly even considering what we started with, but I kind of need to know where they got to be. 219. So we got 10 inches to go on that one, 15 inches to go on that one. So we spent quite a bit of time back in this back corner, but that was the lowest area, and it's fairly caught up at this point. So I want to run this row of posts now, see if we can't get it to around 214 on each post. You saw that, look how much slack is on this cable now. I haven't done anything to it to loosen it. That's just the building coming in, and every time I go up on the side, I just give that one a few cranks. We're 4 inches in on that wall, 4 inches in on this wall. So it's pulling in fairly evenly, not looking too bad. I'm gonna redo this cable. We're gonna drop it down the wall just a little bit because as we go up, the center of that bow kind of starts to move down. So we're gonna drop this cable down a couple feet. Went ahead and made another one of those, same as those, because those seem to be holding pretty well. So I'm gonna do that next, go ahead and get that cable snugged up. There is a minor problem with the workbench though. Apparently it's attached to that post. Fella could do something about it or just see how it plays out, I suppose. It's nerve-wracking because the ladder moves as the beam moves. All right, we got that one in there. Just looking down it, wow, I mean, it's looking so much better. So we got a little distraction right off the gate this morning. Actually, it's not this morning. It's like almost 11 o'clock. I had a lot going on, but we're supposed to get some snow over the next week, which means I need the 3/4 ton truck because that's my 4-wheel drive rig, which means I gotta get rid of that metal. And if we're going to the scrap yard, we might as well make it worth it. Fill that up with some more scrap metal from in here, make the trip worth the drive. Basically anything that's metal that I don't want or see myself using in the next 10 or 20 years is going in there. Found a washing machine. Don't really need that down here, I don't think. We got a very good, safe, secure load here. Let's see if this gets us a little pocket. All right, I'm gonna hike about a mile through the rain for you guys on this next clip because it has been raining like nonstop for the past few days. A ton of people have been asking how the flow is under the stone bridge. If we're gonna get a lot of flow, today is gonna be the day for us. So let's go check it out. Ended up with about $100 on that scrap, by the way. Not a lot, but not nothing. And it's that much less weight whenever I go to get a roll-off dumpster. Now that is awesome. Very cool. That was worth the hike. Very cool. Oh, I love it. How did I get down here? First thing I want to do is get the cable system set up. I got a little bit more lumber so I can build a couple more of those stiff backs like I did, and I got one more come along. We'll get that up and going, get those tensioned down. At this point, the slanted workbench is kind of handy. Vevor hooked us up with another come along. Those first two I think are big reds. I got them at Rural King. Weight-wise and overall looks, it's certainly beefier than the other ones. So there's that Rural King one is not set up this way, but this one is kind of neat. It's got a two hook option on this end, so you got the mechanical advantage, but if you don't need the mechanical advantage and you just need the length, you can unclip that in and go back to it. Hooks back into itself. Gives you some options. See how it has that option to hook back into itself? Distance versus power, whatever a fella needs. I'm just a big fan of options. That's all there is to it. Okay. So we got the three cables in. I kind of walked them just a little bit. They all have pretty equal tension on them right now. You can hear pretty decent tension. The next step, I got these jacks reset and ready to go. We're going to run these up one more stroke, and that's going to be it on this side. So I'm sure on the time lapse it picks up that these posts, probably on the video too, they're starting to lean that way. That's because as the roof goes up, it's going to kind of, the way the arch needs to go, it's going to pull that. I'm not worried about that kicking out too much. The bottle jacks are fairly stable. Remember, this isn't how-to, and I'm not giving you advice. Don't do anything I do. That'd be a terrible idea. But I need to keep the bottoms here because remember, that's where the beams and the posts are down below. That's where the strength is. We don't want to. Well, let's see how much we moved on the string this time as far as pulling in goes. 3. We've gone 5 inches. Ain't bad. Now we're all set up. We'll go run that side again. Gave this a couple relief cuts. Just going to get her modified up right quick. I didn't want to cut all the way through it and pinch my blade, so. All right, fix that. Just go ahead and throw this over. Throw this part over here. This ridge from like that post to this post looks awesome. And then we're going to work that in just a little bit. All right, long-term plan on how we intend to maintain this shape because it's pretty close. It's not perfect, but we're within inches of where it needs to be up top, and we're within a foot on each side. I think 3 more wire ropes and 3 more come-alongs, we can get her pulled in. So I'm not too worried about that. The main thing was, is it going to let us do what we need to do to it? I think the answer is a resounding yes. So on this end of the operation, we're going to frame in a room. 8-foot tall ceiling with a loft, open loft overhead, 20 feet out from the wall. The main reason for the 20 feet is the columns downstairs. They are 10, 10, 10, 10. 10? I don't know how many there are. Anyway, 20 feet because we'll be right over those columns. 8-foot tall ceiling, loft, and then there will be 3 posts just like this wherever that wall is. And those will be permanent. And the top of those, from there back to that load-bearing wall, all the way back, we'll put a beam in. That'll carry that end of it. We're doing it on this end because that end of the roof, that end of the trusses, those are the worst. So that way we'll have really good support. This end, we want it to be wide open. I mean, rec center, it's a gym. I would love to be able to just come down here with the kids or other family members or friends. We want to shoot some hoops. I'm terrible at it, but I always have a good time, or play some pickleball or skate around or do whatever. It's a gym. I would like to have that. So the plan is then from those posts all the way over to the load-bearing wall behind you is to get some trusses made, some long span trusses from there to there, same place those beams are. And of course, that's on top of laminating and redoing those trusses that are there. The trusses that are there, we're just going to glue lam some 1-bys on the bottom side of it, run screws long enough to go through the new material and the old material and suck all that together. And that should lock this thing in place forever. Well, my forever anyway. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I think it's going to be a good plan. But the next immediate step is a huge cleanup in here and to remove all the OSB and everything off the wall. And I've been told that there's some beadboard behind there that was original that's got to come down. That's because we have to access that truss all the way down so we can redo those laminations. So that's going to be the next video, a big cleanup in here and starting to gut some of this stuff out. Before any of that big framing on that end can even happen, though, we will have to do the ICF wall down below first and replace that wall, so we're good to go there. And that major step probably won't happen until spring, early summer. That's kind of how we have it booked out, because I have got to get that dump truck build done, because I need it for this, because that's all got to get dug out and replaced with stone. That needs to be dug out and replaced with stone, so we got good drainage all the way around the building. That sycamore and all that brush that I own, that's coming down, needs to be hauled off and burnt somewhere else off site. We're a little too close to the structure here. And all this has to go down about 2 feet. So I got to get a bunch of material out, and I need a dump truck to do it. So here in a few videos, we will be back on the dump truck build, but the immediate next video, we'll be right back on this thing. But there's the top of it for you. That ridge looks absolutely phenomenal. Still bowed out, but an absolute huge improvement to what it was. I can't wait. This is going to be one of the coolest things I've ever done. So this thing is turning out fantastic. Now you can see by this ridge, we have definitely made progress, but we definitely have more to go. And like we said, the whole goal of this is to see, is it going to actually let us put the screws to her? Is it going to let us lift this building up and get it back in shape? And I think the answer is yes. The sides are still bulged out just a little bit, but looking at how much it's got to come up in the middle yet, I think everything's going to come back just fine for us. One comment I keep getting, and I definitely am going to address in an upcoming video, is it would be cheaper and more effective to just tear this thing down and start over. I've crunched the numbers, I've ran the math, and it just turns out that that's just not the case. But I want to be transparent about what we've spent and what we plan on spending on this and what we think it's going to cost for the future upgrades of this building versus building something new comparable to that. We kind of pride ourselves on being very transparent about the cost of things, how much YouTube helps us, how much money comes from homestead, actual income, and that type of thing, because we want people to have realistic expectations in case they ever want to do this stuff. Hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this build, and hopefully you're getting amped up for the continuation of the dump truck build, because I'm excited about all of it. I'm just excited you guys are here, and I hope you're here on the next one.